How's it going on, my tacticians, and welcome back to another video from yours truly. This time we're gonna talk about the local burb of the Gala region. And listen up, this local burb is more than just, the previous local burbs. This is like a super local burb. It's a very, very powerful burb. Okay, I'm running out of burb ideas here to, say. Regardless, we're talking about Corviknight here. And Gigantamax Corviknight and regular Corviknight. It doesn't matter which kind of Corviknight you run. Corviknight is a very powerful burb no matter which form you choose to take it on. And no matter which ability you run, it is very powerful. Okay? Have you got the message yet? It's a powerful burb. It's very, very powerful. Alright. I'm done. Okay, I'm done with the burb means. Alright, let's first talk about Corviknight. Okay, we're gonna actually go over to its stats real quick. As you can see here, Corviknight, don't let that, that 495, base total fool you, alright? Those are some pretty good stats, and what Corviknight does and what it can do makes it one of the most reliable Pokemon you can have on your team. Now, what do I say this? Why am I talking about, why does this 49 or 495 base total flying steel type burb, why is this the most reliable Pokemon I can have on my team, Impy? Alright, I'm going to show you why. First of all, it has the most unique ability so far in the game, that I've been able to perceive, and that is Mirror Armor. So for those of you who aren't aware, who weren't watching the Nintendo Direct, etc., Mirror Armor reflects any stat lowering effects, and it's only found with hidden ability Corviknight. This means if your opponent runs Intimidate, well, guess what? That Intimidate gets mirrored back, so the Intimidator gets intimidated. Not really intimidated, but they lose their physical attack stat. If they try to use a move such as Fire Lash, for example, Scorch has been running Fire Lash, other Pokemon have Fire Lash as well. It reduces the physical defense stat. Well, guess what? Corviknight reflects the physical defense stat. Anytime a stat would be lowered on Corviknight is mirrored back to the sender. Whoever sent the attack stat or whatever stat reducing move or ability, whatever, it's sent right back from Corviknight to the sender. All right, enough about Mirror Armor. Let's get onto the stats themselves. For an HP, 98 is very reliable, which means it has a lot of health in it. A physical attack stat at 87, it's decent, not the greatest, but that's not what Corviknight wants to do. It doesn't just want to attack. It has other tools of the trade. Defense stat is by far its strongest stat. 105, meaning you can safely rely on Corviknight's natural defenses. You don't need a physical defense boosting nature or invest in the physical defense EVs for Corviknight to be able to take a hit. It doesn't need those boosts with a 105 defense stat total. For its special defense, 85, not the greatest, but hey, it's something to work with. And despite the fact that it runs at a 67 base speed, it's pretty reliable. It's an okay burb. Now, let's talk about moves. We talked about its stats long enough. Let's talk about the moves. Corviknight doesn't learn, the most powerful set of moves, the most diverse set of moves. It has access to the Brave Bird here naturally. It has access to Steel Wing, when it evolves. But that's not what we're going to be running on Corviknight. No, that's not what we want on Corviknight. As for other moves, it has some kind of tech. It has Scary Face. It has Taunt. If you want to lower your opponent's speed or prevent them from, setting up stat moves, etc., etc. But like I said, those are not the moves we're going to be running. We also have access to an interesting move in terms of Power Trip. Now, I'm going to get into Power Trip later on, but for those of you wondering, Power Trip allows the user to hit the opponent, and the higher the user's stat is, or the more stats the user has, in this case Corviknight, the more power this move has. So we're going to get into Power Trip later on. As for TMs and TRs, it doesn't gain a lot, very diverse sets. But we do have access to a decent set of moves that we could run. For example, we have access to U-turn, so if we want to run a Scarf user, there we go, we have access to the U-turn. We have Revenge, that's a decent enough, physical attack move that we can run. As for other moves, well, we got Fly, so I don't know why anyone would want to run Fly, but hey, Fly's there if people want it. Facade, we have Facade. If we get burned, we can run that. I actually think I may run that myself. I was thinking about that. Retaliate, you can't go wrong with a Retaliate. Assurance and Payback. Since Corviknight is naturally slow, with that 65 base speed, maybe Payback can actually help there. And same with Assurance, might be good to run. As for TRs, it has access to an interesting one. It has access to Bulk Up. So if you want to set up if you have a singles Corviknight, you can run Bulk Up here, set up your defensive stats, your physical attack stats, set up, sweep, blah, blah, blah. Brave Bird, we don't need Brave Bird as a TR because we already learned it naturally. Heavy Slam is an interesting one. I don't think Corviknight is that heavy. Then again, I could be wrong, in which case, then, hey, Heavy Slam is a decent enough move you could run if you have a very heavy Corviknight. And Iron Head. This is the steel move we're going to be running the most. Because Iron Head, most reliable steel type move that Corviknight can learn. In fact, any steel type Pokemon can learn. Base power of 80, 100 accuracy, so it won't miss that often. Body Press is another physical move, but this one depends on your defense stat. So if you think your defense is stronger than the opponent's, maybe give Body Press a try. Or, in fact, just run it automatically, especially if we're running the Dynamax version of Corviknight. Now, egg moves. Corviknight does not learn access to a lot of egg moves. It doesn't have as diverse set of egg moves as I would like, but it does gain access to 4 particular egg moves that we can run if we choose to run them. One of them, Roost. Very vital for Corviknight, especially in a singles format. You need Roost to survive. Leftovers, if you run Leftovers on Corviknight, it can sustain itself, but it's not going to sustain itself in the supreme long game. Like you're looking say a Corviknight that goes over 10 turns, etc. If you're running a Corviknight with Roost, however, it can take a lot more hits. It can deal a lot more damage. It can sustain in the fight. Defog, another key move if you want to run it. This will help you get rid of any defensive barriers the opponent runs, reduces their accuracy, etc., and get rid of any entry hazards your side gets hit with. Tailwind, another real good support move for Corviknight. Corviknight may not set up the Tailwind for your team first, but it will still be able to set up the Tailwind for your team last. Either way, it's going to get that Tailwind set up. Corviknight can reliably set it up because of those powerful defensive stats and the fact that it's Corviknight. Who's going to expect a Tailwind Corviknight? Not a lot of people are going to run that. It might catch your opponent off guard. And finally, Sky Attack, the supreme, most powerful flying type move for any flyer in the game. For physicals at least. Corviknight can run Sky Attack, and we're going to talk about the Gigantamax, the Dynamax versions of Corviknight here. So if you don't want to run Brave Bird, but you want to run a flying type for no other reason than for Corviknight during that Dynamax, Gigantamax phase, well, there you go. Sky Attack. 140 base power speed. When you Dynamax it, it's going to, I think, get a little bit stronger. So why not run it? You get the same benefits from, say Brave Bird, etc. And if you don't, and if you still want to use the Sky Attack and your Corviknight is bulky enough to survive 2 turns, well, there you go. That's it. I got nothing else to say when it comes to the move sets here. All right, let's go back to Corviknight here. Let's talk about Corviknight. As far as like I said, far as natures go, 2 natures you're gonna want to run that I've found pretty good is a careful ability, since Corviknight, has a very, very pathetic special attack stat. You can just run either a Jolly, an Adamant, or in this case, a careful natured Corviknight. So Tristan here is set up for singles. He can run in singles, and as far as movesets goes, like I said, I got Roost and Tailwind. Very ideal setup, you know, in doubles format, but in singles I can easily swap out the Tailwind for, you know, bulk up if I really want to. I have like I don't know, like 12 bulk up TRs, so I'm not exactly losing anything there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So back to nature, max physical, you know, max physical, or not, yeah, max physical attack stat. I don't know why I was saying physical, why I was trying to say physical defense stat. Max physical attack stat, max special defense stat. Turn this boy into a bulky burb, make him survive thunder attacks. He can do a lot of things. Come back with a, you know, set in a doubles format, come with a Roost, come back with a, you know, or set up the tail and come back with a Roost. The opponent is wondering why his thunder attack didn't knock out my burb. Well, there you go. That's your reason why. Now, as for you know, Gigantamax Corviknight, I choose to have a jolly natured Corviknight here. Make full use of my attacking and speed. You know, I'm not exactly going to be moving faster than my opponent, but with the combination of the power of the Gigantamax Corviknight, leftovers, and the moveset that I've chosen here, especially in the singles format, Revenge here's we're gonna use of the Max Knuckle, give ourselves some extra firepower. We have the Iron Head to give ourselves some, you know, that steel stab and attacking power with like a physical defense increase. And finally, a Brave Bird, because why not have the Brave Bird? There we go. Now, the thing to know about Gigantamax Corviknight, when you run Gigantamax Corviknight, you're using it to help you counter, especially those barrier type Pokemon. And what do I mean by barrier type Pokemon? You know, Pokemon that like to set up light screens, reflects. Gigantamax Corviknight is a counter to Gigantamax Lapras, because every time Gigantamax Lapras sets up or goes for its signature move, it's gonna set up the Aurora Veil for its side of the field. But Corviknight, Gigantamax Corviknight, will shred through those barriers. It doesn't matter how many barriers the opponent has stacked up, Gigantamax Corviknight's signature move will shut all of them down in one fell swoop. Now, I hope you all learned a thing or two about Gigantamax Corviknight, you know, regular Corviknight, and just how to run Corviknight yourself. I personally love this new burb. It's real powerful, has such a diverse set of moves to it. It's kind of like my 410, okay? You know, like my Skarmory, it's like Skarmory 2.0, but better. Because unlike Skarmory, in which it needed to have the sturdy in order to, you know, be supremely effective, Corviknight actually has access to 3 abilities that it can run safely, and it can run no matter what. Doesn't matter what Corviknight you're running, any of these 3 abilities can be run. Mirror Armor obviously is by far the best. However, you can easily run a Pressure or an Unnerve Corviknight. You want to shut down barrier users, you know, especially with Gigantamax Snorlax coming out, you know, Unnerve will shut down any barrier users. Pressure, if you want to shut out stallers, you know, because like I think like toxic stallers, there are still some toxic stallers in the game. Don't get me wrong, toxic stalling is still in the game, and Corviknight resists those toxic stallers, especially in singles format with the Roost, like I said, and Pressure. It's gonna resist the toxic users unless the opponent is running a Salazzle with Corrosion. I hope you all learned a thing or two. I hope you all make use of the burb, the local burb. Not sure if it's actually Ubers yet. I don't know if it's Ubers yet. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!